can!
It's over!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one.
Straight down the middle. So a good performance from...
Hi, you're watching Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get the show started. On the show today, India gets intel on England, but will that be put to execution? India says Bumrah is ready to play, but today we ask which spinner will make the playing 11 at Edgbaston for the second test versus England, and will Washington Sundar be given the nod ahead of Kuldeep? Club World Cup continues to come under fire for the brutal conditions and scheduling that is a massacre of the sport and the players. So say senior voices. Will this bring any change? And can FIFA dig themselves out of the grave that they have dug up? Jordan refuses to play Israel and they are given a walkover, something that is increasingly becoming a regular phenomena, with countries letting their political leanings spill onto the sporting arenas. Should that be entertained, or is that reason enough for punishment? But first, a look at the headlines on Sports 360. Starting with cricket, the Central Administrative Tribunal has blamed RCB for the Bengaluru stampede, which occurred outside the Chinnaswamy Stadium post the IPL when the winning team returned home. This resulted in the death of 11 people outside the stadium. The tribunal called Bengaluru's last-minute announcement a nuisance. Pakistan Cricket Board has appointed Azhar Mahmood as their acting head coach in the test format. The former all-rounder was Pakistan's all-format assistant coach since April last year. Mahmood is expected to continue as test coach until his current contract expires in March next year. He's the 7th man since 2021 to be appointed as Pakistan's coach in this format. Over in tennis, men's world number 2 Carlos Alcaraz escaped a first-round scare against Fabio Fognini. The Spaniard entered the second round after a thrilling 5-setter. In the women's draw, world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka had an easy outing in the first round. She beat Carson Branstein in straight sets. But it was a hard day for some of the other top seeds. Daniil Medvedev lost to unseeded Benjamin Bonzai 6-7, 6-3, 6-7, 2-6. 24th seeded Stefanos Tsitsipas also ended his campaign with an injury forcing him out. 8th seed Holger Rune crashed out as well after losing to Nicholas Harry in a 5-setter. The same continued over in the women's draw as Paula Badosa lost to unseeded Katie Boulter 2-6, 6-3, 4-6. And wrapping it up with news from basketball, women's NBA All-Star team has been announced. Indiana Fever's Caitlin Clark will lead one side, whereas WNBA MVP runner-up Nafisa Collier will lead the second team. The other stars headlining are New York Liberty's Brianna Stewart and Las Vegas Aces' Aja Wilson. The All-Star game will be played on the 19th of July. Will it be Washington Sundar or Kuldeep Yadav who's set to make it to India's playing 11 at Birmingham at Edgbaston? The jury is out on that one, but there are indications of both gearing up in their own way. I'll get to that in just a bit. Either ways, India's bowling combination is going to be a key topic of discussion heading into this second test. And while India's lower orders struggled to contribute with the bat in that first test at Leeds, the fact was India just couldn't pick up 20 wickets. That's a key area of concern that needs to be addressed going forward. Ryan Ten Doeschate, who's of course part of the Indian coaching staff, may come out and say Jasprit Bumrah is fit and available for selection. That was never a doubt. That was never going to be a contentious point. Bumrah is fit and he'll be there when you ask him to, but the point is workload management, and that prevents this fast bowler from playing all the 5 tests in this series, which puts the onus then on the rest. And that's why the question, who makes up the rest of the bowling unit? Jadeja's ineffectiveness with the ball, coupled with the need to bat deep here, could prompt India to pick 2 spinners for Edgbaston. So who then? Washington Sundar or Kuldeep Yadav? Let's look at Kuldeep Yadav first. He's an attacking bowler, has the knack of getting those breakthroughs when needed. He will bring variety to that bowling lineup. Plus, he spent some valuable time in the IPL cozying up to Kevin Pietersen, who was part of the coaching staff at Delhi Capitals, to pick his brains on the conditions in England, the strategy and of course an inside lane into the psyche of the English batters.
Pietersen said that generally spinners come to England with a defensive mindset. They think that in England, fast bowlers will get wickets and they will be in a supporting role. He told me to take the field with an attacking mindset. If I get a game and bowl 15 to 20 overs, I have to always think about how to get the batsmen out. We ran through their batting lineup. He told me about the mindset needed in England.
That's some top tip there. That can really set Kuldeep up well if given the chance. The only concern would be, of course, the batting prowess. You will be taking him purely for his bowling skills there in the 11, which is fine. But if India's think tank is feeling they were short of that firepower in that lower down the order, and that was probably one of the reasons that cost them the test, then that's an additional skill set that just can put Washington Sundar in the radar and up front. He scored against Australia, he has scored against England. In fact, his highest individual score in Test cricket has been against the English side, an unbeaten 96. So it's all there. He's also a wily customer with the ball, someone who is sharp enough to create those chances. And he went through the rigors during practice. Long session in the nets, padded up, and bowling alongside Jadeja and Kuldeep as well.
There is a very strong chance of playing two spinners. It's about juggling the batting depth. All three are bowling really nicely. Washington is batting very nicely. It's about which combination we go with.
Will the all-rounder tag be that push for Washi to get into the 11, making it two young blokes from Tamil Nadu in a test playing 11 for the Indian men's cricket side after a very, very long time? Or will India be okay to bank on Kuldeep's guile with the ball to make up for the rest? What team combination and balance will they finalize on is going to be an interesting one to watch out tomorrow. FIFA's biggest club spectacle, the World Cup, is turning out to be more chaotic than Cristiano Ronaldo's Al Nassr contract drama. Even as the tournament stumbles into the quarterfinals, critics are calling it a massacre in the making. And the voice is demanding a boycott. They're only getting louder. The future of the tournament is hanging by a thread. And that's despite the shockers we've seen on the pitch, because if this inaugural edition of the expanded FIFA Club World Cup has proven anything, it's this. European giants are not untouchable, they are beatable, they are perishable. Manchester City, Inter Milan, Atletico Madrid, all knocked out. Saudi and Brazilian clubs are bulldozing sides coming with legacy and prestige into this tournament. But even this rise of the underdog story isn't enough to hide what's really going wrong. The heat is on, and quite literally. Critics are torching FIFA for poor scheduling and blatant disregard for rising temperatures. The French Football Union, the UNFP, launched a direct attack on FIFA President Gianni Infantino. And the UNFP isn't alone. Even before the ball was kicked, top players including Ballon d'Or winner Rodri slammed FIFA for the insane calendar. And the criticism, it hasn't stopped.
People who have never had or do not have anything to do with day-to-day business anymore are coming up with something. The Club World Cup is the worst idea ever implemented in football in this regard.
And Klopp's point is simple. The calendar is jam-packed. Players are burning out. Sure, we've seen some magical underdog stories here, but that's because top clubs are drained coming into this tournament. Domestic leagues, the Champions League, Euros, all intense, all non-stop. That's why the Champions League is considered as tough as the World Cup. But FIFA wanted their own version, their answer to the UCL. Only problem, they forgot that this affects every other tournament too. The Club World Cup destroyed us. When the manager of one of the best teams in the world says that, you better believe it's a red flag. And to make things worse, FIFA isn't making recovery any easier. They've scheduled high-intensity knockout matches in scorching afternoon heat In cities already battling rising temperatures, it's a serious health concern. And it's not just footballers raising the alarm, experts are chiming in too.
I'd move it to an air-conditioned stadium with a roof, and preferably to a cooler time of the year. From a thermal-physiological perspective, for both health and performance reasons. The health risks are not purely to the players, it's also the officials and spectators, many of whom are much less fit.
But clearly, FIFA isn't seeing it that way. Despite repeated warnings, nothing has changed. The players' unions are pleading for better rest windows or better scheduling. FIFA still turning a blind eye. And the conditions the tournament has been played in is far from ideal. The pitches are far off, a concern repeatedly being expressed by people involved. And here's the thing, it's not just this tournament that's at stake. If this kind of scheduling continues, it could wreck the rest of the football calendar. Domestic leagues, UCL, even the Men's World Cup, that's in America, and it's scheduled next year around the same time. Worse, major clubs could start boycotting the next edition of the Club World Cup altogether. Because let's face it, the Club World Cup isn't exactly beloved at this point. Right now, FIFA has given us 0 reasons to start loving it all over again. Geopolitical tensions are no longer just making headlines, they are ripping through the heart of global sport. As relations strain across West Asia, Europe and the subcontinent, sporting rivalries are beginning to fall apart. And the latest flashpoint is the FIBA Under-19 Basketball World Cup, where Jordan refused to play against Israel in a scheduled match. The result, a forfeited win for Israel and a glaring question for the sporting world. Where are the governing bodies in all of this? Why is there no accountability when countries pull out of matches over political reasons? Let's take a closer look.
The world is burning, literally and figuratively. From wars in Europe and West Asia to political instability worldwide, the chaos is spilling into sports. Countries are getting banned, matches rescheduled, entire leagues suspended. But what's worse, the events still going ahead are being disrupted by politics. At the Under-19 FIBA Basketball World Cup, a fixture between Israel and Jordan ended up in controversy. Jordan refused to show up and Israel walked away with the points. The Jordanian Basketball Federation offered no official explanation, but the motive was clear: the ongoing war in Gaza. But here's the problem. If FIBA cleared Israel to compete, should Jordan be allowed to walk away with no consequences? Let's be honest, boycotting a match after entering the tournament doesn't just impact standings. It undermines the event, the organizers and global broadcasters who put millions into making it happen. If Jordan intended to boycott Israel, why not pull out of the tournament from the start? Because the anti-Israel sentiments are not a one-off. In the same tournament, a match between Israel and Switzerland was interrupted after a fan stormed the court waving a Palestinian flag. It doesn't stop with the fans either. Earlier this year, during the European Fencing Championships, the Swiss team turned their backs during Israel's national anthem. The Swiss Fencing Federation launched a full investigation. The athletes were heavily criticized for disrespecting the sport and the moment worldwide. Even last year, before a World Cup qualifier, Norway demanded FIFA investigate Israel. FIFA did, and they deemed Israel eligible. And Norway, they played the match. They won the game, but more importantly, the match went ahead as it should. So here's the big question. If a team is cleared by a governing body to compete, should another nation be allowed to boycott them? Other sporting bodies have taken firm stance. FIFA, FIDE, the IOC, they've all banned Russian athletes from competitions amid the Ukraine war. That's a unified approach, and when teams refuse to play, they usually face the consequences. India's legendary football club Mohun Bagan was kicked out of the AFC Champions League after refusing to travel to Iran for a scheduled match. They demanded a change owing to tensions. The AFC said no and they were punished. Even in cricket, where political tensions run deep, India and Pakistan still play. They may avoid bilateral series, but when grouped together in ICC tournaments, they do show up. They commit, they compete, and they don't walk away. That's the status now till anything untoward further occurs. And that's why Jordan's boycott raises serious questions about FIBA's leadership. Why was Jordan allowed to forfeit without consequence? Is FIBA too soft to take action? Or does a country's political stance now outweigh a governing body's authority? These are questions FIBA needs to answer because the integrity of international sport depends on it.
Time for Last Serve. Dinosaurs are back, and not just any, the Tyrannosaurus. And the first thing on the bucket list, skydiving and racing. With 300 people dressed up as T-Rexes and competed in Washington for the World Championship title. And the competition was fierce.
T-Rexes away, and they all came away to a beautiful start. And we've got several fighting it out at the inside for the blue T-Rex on the front to win the championship for the ladies. Flying down the stretch of the championship from the outside, 4, 5 T-Rexes.
That wraps it up here on First Sports. I'll see you again tomorrow. Till then, do take care. Bye-bye.